Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, fucking name. Heckler house, Heckler house. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, I didn't see anything major going on this past week. I saw that Brandon Fraser is doing another Mummy sequel. I've seen that. Nothing new with Trump or anything except for the Iranians shot one of our vessels, and Trump said keep looking around, you're going to find out. People are sick of the black fatigue. They're getting tired of the inner city black community acting all crazy, and they need to rein in their behavior. What else? Oh, I did see that the UK is throwing a fit because Reform won. They want the Muslims out of their country, which I don't blame them. We want the Muslims out of our country. Islam is a death cult. It needs to be eradicated. What else? I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I've seen on the top of my head. What's going on? It's crazy, but I mean, this world is crazy. 98% of all the world's problems can be tied to feminism. Women are they're nuts. A lot of them are nuts. Not all women, just a vast majority of them are nuts. And they vote for the craziest thing. They make the worst decisions. And feminism has taught them to be idiots. They brainwashed them and melted their brains. But anyways, I digress. Let's move on. So as I've said before, even if you don't watch the channel regularly, and you've only seen a couple of videos, or you don't watch it at all, it only takes 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't affect you or your channel whatsoever. It just helps this channel grow. So please subscribe. Also, I have another channel. It's called Easy Does It. The link is in the About section. Check it out if you like gaming vlogs and reviews and reactions to other YouTube channels. Okay. Again, subscribe. This week, we're going to talk about a show that was done in the 90s. 97, I think it said it was. It was one of Heath Ledger's very first acting gigs or whatever. It was based upon like Scottish or Celtic shit. Kind of like Braveheart kind of shit. It was fantasy, but it was also kind of like a historical fantasy kind of thing. The Romans came in. You had this evil queen, Roman princess or something, trying to take over the land. And then, back when Rome invaded Britain. And then you had this one guy who was with her. They called him a sorcerer, and he was like, I forget what they called him, his name was, but supposedly he's the guy who stabbed Jesus in the side with the spear of destiny. He's been trying to get it back because apparently ever since he done that, he's been cursed to walk the earth as an immortal, and he wants to die. So he's constantly trying to search for the spear of destiny. Heath Ledger plays this young king called Connor or some shit like that. At the very first episode, his brother and his father and mother, they get wiped out by a raid or some shit by another tribe as working for the Romans. He goes into hiding with his man at arms, his second guy, someone who's been warfare advice to his father, the late king. So now he becomes his advisor. The show mainly focuses on him and this queen and evil sorcerer dude who's been like alive for like 500 years or some shit, and they're all time fighting throughout the show. There's only one season. I don't know why it didn't pick up another season. The outfits and stuff looked like from the 90s Sci-Fi channel stuff. It wasn't like really expensive. The show couldn't have been, but it was actually a fairly decent show. Heath, in one of his very first acting roles, didn't do too bad of a job. It was decent. You had some decent actors in it, so I don't know why it didn't go a second round, but apparently it just wasn't good enough for the critics or the show producers or whatever. It's definitely worth a one-time watch. It's not really that bad. I thought it was pretty decent. I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down. Wasn't like superb, but it wasn't like bad either, so check it out if you want. Okay, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, movie holics, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. This week is Horror Week. Now, I decided to go with sort of a classic. I mean, many people have heard of this, but not everyone's seen it. Uh, I'm going to do the Phantasm franchise. Now, I think there's 5 of these movies. I haven't looked it up. I just watched the first 2. But I know there's at least 4 of these. I think there's 5 though. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I'll do them every horror week until we get done with them. The first Phantasm was done in 1979, and it made about 12 million worldwide, which was okay for back then. It starred Reggie Bannister, Michael Baldwin. Angus Scrimm was the tall man, and they didn't really have a leading lady. Kathy Lester was the chick in purple that you've seen a few times in the movie, but she was actually supposed to be the tall man. He was like using an illusion to make himself look like this woman to kill some people. But anyways, it's kind of, it's almost sci-fi-ish too, because when they find out what's going on, sorta, they kind of know what's going on. It kind of gets a little sci-fi-ish. Throughout most of the movie, you have this kid. Excuse me. This boy, he's about 13, I think they said in the movie. Anyways, he's following around this tall Angus Scrimm, the tall man. He's following him around and kind of just watching and observing him. He thinks he's weird, so he's following around this funeral home. Now him and this other guy named Corey, I think his name was Corey in the movie, I can't remember Michael's character, but anyways, they had an older brother named Tommy who dies at the very beginning of the movie. Angus Scrimm, as the woman, kills him, stabs him. But they blame it on like some kind of suicide or whatever. Reggie shows up and he's kind of in the middle of it. He's just, he's like best friends with them and shit and blah blah blah. Anyways, they get in a few tussles with the tall man. About, I'd say, almost halfway through the movie, because through the first almost half of the movie, it's the kid, Michael or whatever, he's going around watching the tall man, trying to figure out what's going on, because he's being really weird. And he keeps trying to tell Corey, his older brother, that something's going on. And Corey doesn't believe him at first. Not till he gets in, he has a confrontation with the tall man, Mikey does, and he chops off his finger. He takes his finger to Corey, and he's telling him about these dwarves that keep attacking him, these little people, and he says, this is the tall man's finger, and he shows it to him, and the finger's still moving around, wiggling around, and trying to get out of this box he put it in. So Corey starts to believe something's going on, and things are a little weird, so he goes to investigate. When he comes back, there's this giant bug, I don't know, like horsefly, or, I mean, way bigger than a regular size horsefly, but They end up fighting this thing and putting it in the garbage disposal, and Reggie comes over at the same time that they're doing this, and he sees it, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? So they get a plan to go check out this place, find out what the tall man's doing. Well, Mikey, he can't ever listen. He doesn't stay at home. So he follows him over there. And they find out that the tall man has this weird dimensional portal in this white room that's buzzing. Reggie has this thing where I forget what they're called. They're like a tuning fork. You know, the one of them. You know what I'm talking about. You hit it and it goes, you know. But anyways, it looks sort of like that. They go in there and the tall man starts chasing them with these spheres with knives in them and shit. And the dwarves are after Corey and Mikey, and then Reggie, he ends up staying behind, and he tries to stop the interdimensional portal, which all the dwarves are being sent. The dwarves are basically dead humans that they've squashed and put some crap in them, kind of like, it's not quite formaldehyde, it's something else that reanimates them. But in order for them to survive in this other world, because you see the other dimension, they're like slaves or some shit, is what they say. It's this red Mars-looking landscape shit. But that's all you see is the other dimension. But they end up finally what they think they stopped the tall man. But then he wakes up. Mikey wakes up from like, he thinks it's been a nightmare and it's a dream. And Reggie tells him it is, which makes no sense because Reggie gets stabbed in the stomach. I mean, by the tall man as the purple dress chick, but it don't make no sense. You'd think he'd be dead, but for whatever reason, he's still alive. He tells Mikey he's just had a nightmare that Corey, the brother that was with him, all of a sudden, he's dead from a car accident. So now the one taking care of him is Reggie. Well, Reggie tells him, let's go on a little vacation and get out of here for a while. And Mikey's just like, he's confused and he's like, okay. So he goes upstairs to pack his shit, and the tall man shows up and grabs him, and that's the end of the movie. The ending made no sense. Literally, it made no sense whatsoever. I didn't get it. Like I said, Reggie should be dead. Instead of Corey being alive, he's dead. And Mikey gets grabbed by the tall man. But that's the end of that. It's an okay movie. It wasn't bad, but it was weird. It was just weird. You know, and like I said, the only thing really I thought was really bad about the movie was the ending. It made no sense whatsoever. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. I give it thumbs up and thumbs down. It wasn't like excellent, but it wasn't like horrible either. Okay, let's move on to your second one, Phantasm 2. I can't remember if there's a short title for that or not, but Phantasm 2 was done in 1988, several years later. Only made about $8 million, so it didn't do all that well. It starred James Lee Gross, which he played the older version of Mikey. Paula You also get introduced Paula Irvine. She's the blonde chick that he keeps dreaming about. And then Samantha Phillips, which is the hitchhiker they pick up that Reggie, gets involved with. Reggie comes back for this one too. But anyway, in this one, Mikey is constantly dreaming about the tall man and what he's doing, where he's going. He wants to stop him really bad. He keeps dreaming of others that are similar to him, especially this girl, this blonde girl. He feels that he really needs to help her, find her and help her. But he don't know if she's actually real. He just keeps seeing her in dreams. At the very beginning of the movie, Reggie has his family at his home, and then it blows up with them in it, and somehow the tall man caused it, so he gets involved, and he starts going with Mikey, trying to find the tall man, and they are hunting him. They just seem to be always just a little bit late to the party. The tall man's already moved on to another town, another cemetery, but the results are the same. He's taken all the people in the town, the dead, whatever, and turned them into little dwarf slaves. They run across a few traps set by him to try, because he knows that they're pursuing him. But they eventually catch up with him, and they find the girl. Like I said, they pick up that other girl that Reggie gets involved with just before the town they get to. Again, they have it out, and the tall man's got extra help this time. He's got like 3 guys who are like almost zombies, kind of. They're helping him out. They're like caretakers or some shit. But anyways, they're running a mausoleum, funeral home, whatever. He's nearly wiped out the entire town. Turned them all into dwarves again. So they get in a big fight with him and his little balls. He's got a new gold ball in this one. But anyways, they get in a big fight with all these guys. They stop him. They find another dimensional portal, which they blow up. They burn down. And then they go to get out of the building. And they hop in this hearse that this girl, she shows up with the hearse, Reggie's girl, and they go to take off. Come to find out, the Reggie's girl isn't Reggie's girl; it's the tall man. And it kind of grosses them out. They get in a fight. Reggie gets left on the road, and the car takes off. And Mikey tells the girl, "Don't worry, it's got to be a dream. This is all a dream." And the tall man pokes his head through the back window and says, "No, it's not." And that's the end of the movie. And then this one, I don't know. I liked it a little bit better than the original. But again, it's weird. It's a weird movie. Again, you just see briefly the other dimension. You don't see very much of it. And it's very similar to the original movie. Like this really backdrop red that looks like the Mars landscape. It's really weird. But supposedly they stop him, but then they don't at the very end. So again, they left it off, sort of. What happened to Reggie? What happened to Mikey and the girl? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait till the third one to find that out. Anyways, I give this one a thumbs up, thumbs down too. I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't like really great. They leave some plot holes, but it was okay for what it was. And I do like Angus Scrimm as the tall man. He comes off really creepy, to be honest. So he does a really good job as the tall man. Anyways, if you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you can think of any B-rated or underrated type movies you think I've never even have heard of, that's my jam. Please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you be told the truth, and you just been told.